It seems like it's harder than ever to get close to someone these days. People are just more distant. They're afraid of people reaching out and touching them.
I'm alone. I am not lonely.
It takes two to tango, but UFC players don't dance. They run. We're talking about how to deal with runners, the wrong way to catch them, and the right way, cutting the cage. But first we must ask, what makes a man into a runner? But even firster, let's define running. Not every back foot playstyle is running. If someone tries to plant their feet in the center of the cage and wait for you to approach, that's not running, just holding their ground. If someone uses in and out movement to play footsies, that's not running either. A runner is someone who backs up in circles near constantly, trying their best to never let you plant your feet within range of them. Why do they do this? Because defense is hard. If you stand still and let them tee off on you, it's quite difficult to defend everything. You start out just blocking high and low, which is hard enough, but then your block starts failing, so you must start using head movement and other evasions. What's easy is backing up. Taking a step out of range is the ultimate defense. They cannot get you if you're not there to get got. But do not, my friend, become addicted to backing up. It will take hold of you, and you'll resent its absence. You back up, more backer, then you hit the fence. It's not good to be here. On the fence, your movement speed decreases, your power declines slightly, clinches put you onto the cage, you're more vulnerable to takedowns. Worst of all, though, you can no longer back up. Unless you're made of liquid metal like the T-1000, then this doesn't apply to you. So backing up isn't enough. You must also circle if you wish to stay off the fence. There we go. Perfect defense, you're untouchable. Except circling doesn't make you untouchable, it's just that they can't stand still and hit you. They must come forward with their strikes. So let's talk about the wrong way to get close to a runner. Just crash right into him. You move faster going forward than going backwards. If you just press forward on the left stick, you're going to catch up to them and you can swarm them with punches. I call this butthead pressure. No, that's too disparaging. How about car crash pressure? I say this is the wrong way, but this approach can work. I've run into Division 20 players who play this way. I've run into highly ranked players better than me who clearly have success with this. However, car crash pressure has an obvious downside. You are walking right into the runner's punches, sacrificing defense for offense. Forward-moving strikes will catch your opponent, but they're slower and less efficient. This approach has never worked well for me. I can't defend myself properly when I swarm, and I don't like the lack of control. I need time to analyze things. So what is the slow thinker's alternative? We stop following them around and start cutting off the cage. Cutting the cage is incredibly complex. This is for geniuses only. You been to college? I only teach yeggs what's been to college. Here it is. When they move laterally, we move laterally in the same direction. That's basically it. Video over. Of course, there are some nuances we can cover. First off, there is the matter of distance. Unlike car crash / butthead pressure, we don't want to be chest to chest when we cut the cage. We're trying to match their movement, and that's easier with a little more distance between us. The closer we are, the greater the angle they take with respect to us with every step they take. It's basic geometry. If we're right on their ass and they change directions, they'll make more progress towards the center of the cage if we're close. With more distance, we have an easier time holding the center. The camera tends to obscure lateral movement, making the game feel two-dimensional. Imagine there's a spot they're circling towards and try to beat them to that spot. Then, when they change directions, beat them to the spot on the other side. Repeat this, making the section of the cage they're allowed to be in smaller and smaller over time. You don't have to stay far away the whole time. You can move in and out, but by default, try to keep a moderate distance. Also, cage cutting is a defensive art. You must be more defensively sound when you're the one forcing the action. The runner loves to run you onto their strikes, like the spinning back kick. A little more distance means a little more time to react. Secondly, we need to treat them like itinerant livestock. We need to herd them with our strikes. Herding strikes are designed to punish lateral movement. Basically, any round strike we can reach them with. Calf kicks, body roundhouse kicks, the lead hook. As they move laterally, they take more damage from round strikes that intercept their movement. While you can throw hooks moving, we prefer to throw them with our feet planted, and we really want our feet planted if we kick. Move barely into range, they'll circle out because they're a runner. You plant your feet momentarily to fire off a strike, ideally slowing them down. And repeat. Quick note, overhands work as well, but in the opposite way that you might think. The rear overhand punishes moving away from it, but has no particular advantage if they circle into it, and will miss if they lunge or slip towards it. Same deal with the lead overhand. When hurting with an overhand, just remember to tell yourself, opposite, opposite. I find that it's easier to punish with hurting strikes if they circle towards your lead hand side, as that gives me the lead hook to the head and body. Circling towards the rear hand side is often more difficult to punish. The rear hook is slower and shorter, and thus harder to land against movers. In a closed stance matchup, you also give them the block hook counter. Even if they don't go for those, you have a slightly longer recovery animation, which will slow you down some. If they consistently check the calf kick, you may have to try more head roundhouse kicks, which always carry an element of risk. You can also try to bias your lateral movement to cut them off more aggressively when they move this way, in the hopes of influencing them to move towards your lead hand side. Also, let me assure you, it is legal to clinch and shoot takedowns. When someone backs up with minimal head movement, they will often be vulnerable to being clinched, especially right after they throw a kick you block. Grab their neck, knee them, and put them on the cage. It's fine to do this. If they throw a lot of strikes on the move, or move their head frequently, then you should prefer shooting a takedown. If they're circling near the cage, they are insanely vulnerable to getting timed with a single leg as they throw. Doesn't need to be a power takedown, nor does it need to be turned. A simple single leg will usually down them. What's important here is that we're not trying to crush them with these strikes, we're just trying to touch them. I'm happy to land any successful strike. What counts as a success? Any leg or body strike that lands without you getting countered is a success. Same for head strikes, but we also count landing on the block as a success. Block breaking is both a short and long-term process. Landing on the guard is a slightly positive result, even if we can't follow up. What we're really looking for, though, is this type of reaction when they move into a strike, this halting stagger. You don't need to start every combo with a hurting strike, though you should probably end most of your combos with one. But if you want to maintain your presence, you need to keep those combos short. Ones and twos. The longer the combo, the more stamina you use, the slower your pursuit while it recovers, giving your opponent more opportunity to escape. Save longer combos for the later rounds, when you want to go for the kill.
Speaking of later rounds, you should plan on seeing them. You have 9 to 15 minutes to get the job done. You should use them all. For me personally, I find the best way to lose a match is to try and force a knockout. The more I press, the worse I do, and paradoxically, the longer it takes for me to knock them out. Slow pressure from the outside, especially with kicks, is my favorite way to play. If you're cutting the cage the right way, you'll be more efficient with your damage. You'll be taking blows as often as the runner, probably more, but your hurting strikes are dealing extra damage as they move into them, while their strikes won't be dealing any extra damage to you as you stay at the end of their range. So long as you're not taking dangerous levels of head damage, and that's your judgment to make, you benefit from extending the match. As their legs and or body degrade, your advantages will grow. If you're confident that you're winning rounds, there is no need to switch anything up. Keep the slow pressure going. If, on the other hand, the runner recognizes that they're losing, then there's a couple ways this can fork. Sometimes they seem to accept their fate and stop moving when they hit the cage. They might be looking to counter you, but you've got them in a good spot if you feel like battering them. They may try throwing more to keep you off them, in which case stop worrying about cutting the cage. Now all you have to do is move slightly into range to draw out their offense and look to counter. Or maybe despite your best efforts, they're still able to elude you. Cutting the cage isn't magic, you have to cut the cage better than they run. If you're behind and not wearing them down fast enough, it may be time to use the way of the butthead.